This is a good question to know. So, we see constant velocity. First off, without even really reading the question, if we see constant velocity, we know the acceleration is 0. There it is. So, if we have an acceleration of 0, that will come into play, but you always want to look for those words, constant velocity. Okay, the normal force. If the normal force is what pushes back up. So if I have something sitting on a table here and gravity is pulling down, the normal force is what pushes back up. It's always perpendicular to the surface and is pushing back on the object so it doesn't fall through. So the normal force, if something's flat on a surface like this, is just going to be equal to mass times gravity, because it's going to be equal to weight fighting against it. Okay, so it's just going to be mg, so 7 times 9.8, and that'll get your answer. Alright, that is the ugliest 8 you've ever seen. Oh well, deal with it. Okay, the net force, again, we said acceleration is 0 because we saw constant velocity. Net force is mass times acceleration, so we have 7 times 0. So the whole answer is 0. Alright, now I say coefficient of sliding friction is 0.03. What's a frictional force? Well, friction is equal to mu times the normal force. And in this case, we already calculated the normal force, so it's going to be 0.03 times the answer you got in A, or just saying 7 times 9.8 again, because that was the normal force. Okay? The last thing is the cube is being pushed. What's the force that's being pushed with? Well, again, if you see a friction type of problem, you want to say what's happening. And you say what's happening by saying net force is equal to. Well, what's happening? There is somebody pulling the object, or pushing, going that way, and that's going to be a force applied, and friction is fighting against it. Okay, and what's left is the net force. So we have the force applied minus the force of friction is equal to the net. Okay? So, if we are going to figure out what force is being pushed with, we're looking for force applied. Well, what was the net force? We already said that was 0, right? Force applied is what we're looking for. And force of friction we just found, which again is just going to be the 0.03 times 7 times 9.8. Multiply it out and do your algebra, and you'll get force applied by itself.